Ladies and gents, it's such a divine pleasure to bring to you this passion project of mine, Beauty into Power. Yes, it's hosted by me, Dr. Cheryl Vernae. Yes, as you already know, I have lots to say, but even more importantly, I have lots to share with our beloved community. It is important that we leave a legacy of truth, love, and integrity to our children. This is a show that I pray will do just that. Why the name Beauty into Power? Well, it's really simple. That's exactly what I believe the essence of beauty is. And when translated, it can make you powerful inside and out. And no, I'm not just talking about physically. I'm also talking about spiritually. Having the essence of a beautiful soul is what will empower you to walk in your greatness. So it is my delight every week to bring to you individuals that I believe have not only something to say, but a legacy to leave of their own. The ability to take what they're doing on a day-to-day basis. And why the name Beauty into Power? Well, the essence of beauty, in my estimate, in my opinion, is not just physically. It's truly spiritual. And once we build that inner beauty on the inside, that would translate on the outside is where we get to affect the world in the most beautiful way possible. So it is my goal every week that you see me, every opportunity that you see me, to bring to you a guest that's doing just that in their way, in their creative way, in their God way. Yes, I believe that all talent, everything, all the gifts come from above. So that is the essence of why Beauty into Power, I believe, is so important. So, I am so excited. I cannot express how elated I am to bring on this dynamic creative, Mr. Dr. D. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. D. Welcome, sir.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Oh, my gosh. How long and how far did we go back?
That far.
Decades.
Yeah, about.
And the beautiful thing about living in this world is that we get to see each other become greater and greater.
Amen. That's a beautiful thing.
Decade after decade, better and better. And I'm so excited because you're doing something that is, in my estimate, truly revolutionary.
Amen.
Truly groundbreaking. And so I'm going to give you a chance to delve into that. But I know my audience is wondering, why, first of all, why is she bringing on Dr. D? And who is Dr. D? Let's just start there. Who is Dr. D? Can you tell our audience who you are and what you've been up to for the last 40 years?
Well, it's a plum pleasing pleasure to be here. And who is Dr. D? He's an entrepreneur. He's a trailblazer. He's someone that doesn't take the road already paved, but he makes his own roads. And all my ministries, everything that I've been led to do has been grassroots and off the beaten trail. So starting 40 years ago, I became one of the original gospel DJs in 1979 when hip-hop and the DJ scene just started in 77. When it got down to Brooklyn, it hit a group of us. It was 6 of us, and we started doing the gospel DJs. So I'm part of the original gospel DJs, and from 79 on. From that point, I did a Christian nightclub, a real Christian nightclub in a nightclub. So that was fun to do, having Christians come and some that didn't come because I was in the club. From there, I went into radio. In about 95, I went into radio. So at that point, I became a radio announcer / DJ. And I've been doing that since about 27 years now. And my latest endeavor, or like you say, your passion project, is doing photography. I started photography in 95, shooting in the gospel music industry, because that's the industry I love. I love gospel music. So I started shooting that and documenting that, and I've done that up until like the last 10 years. I'm still doing it. But at the same time, I also have, like you said, a personal passion that I see a niche that wasn't being fulfilled. and I'm doing that now.
Excellent. Well, I'm going to have you stop right there because we got to go back just a little, just a little, and then we're going to talk about these wonderful things that you have in front of us. Audience that's not visual, he has some dynamic books. He's going to give you an opportunity if you're interested in becoming a customer. They are legacy building and legacy leading books. So we're going to talk more about that very soon. But I want to go back to what I'm sure everyone is saying, gospel DJ. Who was that? Who, when and where and why? And what was the importance of being a gospel DJ, and where did it lead gospel to where it is now?
Well, like most of us know who know hip hop, who know the history of DJs, started in the Bronx in '77, and by the time '79 came around, it had filtered down into other boroughs, including Brooklyn. And again, it was all about exposing music. And the group of us, there were 6 of us in church, we saw that on Sundays was the only time that most Christians heard music. And what they heard on Sunday was so limited. And we found there was other genres of gospel music out there. So we started off saying, let's just make some tapes, mixtapes, because that's what DJs did at the time, and just give it to the young people so they would have something to carry them during the week instead of just on the weekends. And that's how it started. There was gospel reggae out there was gospel jazz out there was contemporary music, but radio only played quartets and choirs.
Interesting. So wait a minute, what type of radio? Just regular radio stations?
Yeah.
They never played anything other than what now?
Quartet and choirs.
So there was a whole couple of lanes, if you will, that were left out,
right,
as if they didn't have any impact.
Nope.
And the truth of the matter is it did. Like, for instance, Kirk Franklin, correct?
I mean, people like Kirk, he's considered a contemporary artist.
But back in the day, exactly,
quartet and choirs, and there was so much other genres of gospel music out there, and we just wanted to expose young people, especially those in the church, during the week, that they had something else that they can listen to, and was more of their flavor.
Be empowered,
to
stay saved.
Yes.
Amen.
Yes.
To stay a Christian, right? And not dissect their lives Monday through Friday. I live a certain kind of way. Right. Saturday is turn up, and then Sunday is church.
It's church.
Gospel music helped people bridge their lives. Don't you agree?
It did, and that was the gap that we saw, that young people needed music that they related to.
Yes,
because there was a whole genre in the mainstream of music that they liked. Could be R&B, could be jazz, it could be rap, but they didn't have anybody in the faith that shared their faith to help them keep the faith.
Interesting.
So that's why we started exposing young people to other genres of gospel music. And that's how the gospel DJs started.
Well, listen, quiet as it's kept, I remember that club. I was there.
Club, yeah.
Yes, I was there. And it was impactful, and it was something that we look forward to going to.
Correct.
And experiencing. We can't leave out the gospel skating.
No.
That was a huge impact in the Christian community, particularly in the 5 boroughs.
Yes.
And it was something, again, that we had to look forward to, that kept us wanting to keep our feet planted in the ground, on the ground, and saved Christians.
And that's what,
Christian-like.
Everything we did was about helping Christians stay grounded in Christ. When we did the nightclub, we did that because, number one, Christians love to dance. As quiet as it was kept, we love to dance, and we love to party. But we didn't want to go to the regular clubs with the other things that might pull us back.
Call shoot 'em up. You can get shot. Just keep it real.
Drugs,
you just didn't want to have to deal with all that. Right.
So we wanted to create an atmosphere where Christians can come and be themselves, enjoy gospel music, dance, and have fun. So that's why we did the Christian nightclub in a club, an actual club. And that was different. That was fun.
It's awesome.
And then with the skating party, it was the same thing. When skating started to take form, especially in Brooklyn, when churches wanted to do skating parties. What they did was bring a creative music, give it to a DJ that did not know the music, and stand up there in the booth and tell him what songs to play.
Exactly. Literally pointing. I saw it. Yes, pointing.
Play that song, and they would play the whole song. You hear this
from the start,
and then the next song coming. So there was no mixing, there was no flow. It was just music behind music. And when we came about, people started hiring us because, one, we were saved. Two, we knew the music. So they didn't have to be up there telling us. And we, again, knowing the other genres that was out there besides what they heard on radio, we did like all the skating rinks from the Bronx to Staten Island to Manhattan. We did all of them because Christians started doing skating parties. So we, again, the gospel DJs started that gospel skate era.
Yes. So let's just back up a little. You mentioned the boroughs, but remember, podcasting is global. So we're talking about boroughs in New York City.
Yeah, boroughs.
So we're saying New York City kind of led the charge.
Yeah.
And that is what was also groundbreaking, is that it went from borough to state, then from state to state, city to city, state to state, and then from country to country, continent to continent.
No, it really did. It really did. That's where, that's the beauty of where gospel music is now.
Exactly.
Gospel skating. There's hundreds of gospel DJs out there, but in the beginning, when there was only 6 gospel DJs, and there was a few rappers, and I always said that someday somebody's gonna go back and tell the story of those artists, those rappers, those jazz musicians that started in 79, 90, 91. Before about 95, it was more popular.
Right.
And it was on radio and stuff like that. But there was groundbreaking artists and DJs that from 79 on took a lot of slack for what they was doing, for what they felt God had them to do.
And wait a minute, most likely did not get paid.
Oh, no.
And certainly didn't get paid commensurated with their competitors.
No.
In the industry. So a lot of it was you were just really donating your time because what? You love the music.
You love the music. And you love the ministry.
Right.
You love the ministry. Even, music and ministry is the same thing. People, it's their passion. They do it. So that's why the rappers did it. That's why jazz musicians did it. That's why contemporary artists did it, because they loved it. They felt it inside themselves to do it, and that's why we did it.
Awesome. Well, oftentimes people don't get their flowers. I'm not just going to clap, and I'm going to give you kisses of flowers, because I can tell you I was one of those young people that benefited from your passion and the other DJs, and look what it has translated into now. And I'm just going to stay on this subject just a little bit longer. I remember when there was no real gospel music even on the radio.
That's right.
And those of us, happen to be myself, we would have to pay for time to actually interview people in the gospel community.
Yeah. That's right.
And now you have, thank God, some wonderful shows like the Donnie McClurkin show. You've got Mary Erica has her show. But please understand, audience, that this was not the formula back in the 70s.
But that's what I'm saying.
It was not. There was nothing.
No, one day
this was truly groundbreaking
and capture the life of those guys. We do it in hip hop. All the people, groundbreaking artists in hip hop, you know them. But you don't know the original gospel DJs.
Yes.
You don't know the gospel rappers, musicians, contemporary people, artists back in those days. You don't know them because no one has went back and told their story.
That's awesome. Well, hopefully you'll be just that person.
I hope somebody does.
I'm praying that you get the backing, you get the support, because I believe the audience is there because people want to understand what was the foundation, of everything. Yeah. And this is the foundation of gospel. And gospel as we know it, contemporary.
Yes, that's right.
That's awesome. So thank you for embellishing and giving us a little bit of history, because it's so important. Y'all young people need to understand what that burden felt like and why they're able to enjoy it today.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is you can enjoy it today. You want gospel DJs, you can Google and hundreds will come up.
Absolutely.
But imagine a time when you Google gospel DJ and nobody came up.
Nobody came up.
And then I remember 6 guys out of nowhere that came up. and they broke the ground. They took the slack, and then they propelled gospel music as a foundation to what it is today.
That's
so
awesome.
It's an awesome thing to be.
I remember busloads of people coming from other states just to enjoy what you guys were doing. So again, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. So we're going to fast forward now. So you mentioned, okay, you started as a gospel DJ.
Yes.
You have evolved. Yes. Thank God, creatively. And I say thank God creatively because that's the evolution of all creatives. And listen, I really want these young people, if you're listening, you have to evolve as a creative.
Yeah.
Where you started in 1902 is really not where you should be at 1922. Right. Okay, just to give you numbers. You have to keep on the cusp of what's new, or at least growing your craft.
You have to, I like the second part, growing your craft, because a lot of times, especially from my vantage point, everything I did was not mainstream. Everything I did, or that God had me do, was not something that was popular. From the Christian nightclubs, that wasn't popular.
No, it wasn't.
From the DJing, no, that wasn't popular. For getting on radio, and when I said I was a radio announcer / DJ,
yes,
because gospel music had radio announcers.
Yes.
But they did not have.
No, they did not have
DJs.
That's right.
On the radio.
That was another animal.
And it
Absolutely.
wasn't until 95, 97, going into 80, past 80, 95, in that area that you start seeing gospel DJs on the radio mixing and blending at the 12 o'clock hour, the drive times and stuff like that. It's a totally different animal. But that's another thing. You hear them all the time now.
Yes.
But if you go back to the early 90s, it was a beginning, a place where we all started and had to fight to be on the radio.
And let's be honest, had it not been for the DJs, the music would not be where it is today.
No.
As a true contender. And to even be a Grammy artist was a big deal. To be listed. And so each lane helped each other to grow to where they are.
Yeah.
Truly legacy building.
When you
Truly
understand
legacy
it that
building.
way, we definitely did. But like the ministry of DJs was always breaking ground. It was always playing the music that was not popular, that was coming up. That's one of the things I liked about Frankie Crocker.
Yes.
Frankie Crocker, and people say his shows were so groundbreaking.
Yes.
And that's because he hung out in the clubs with the DJs.
Yes.
So all that upcoming music, he heard it first. And what did he do? He broke it. And that was he understood the balance of himself as a radio announcer and the DJs and how to incorporate what they was doing into his ministry, which made it better.
Yes. And he was primarily R&B and soul.
Oh, yeah.
But open to everything that affected our lives.
Because
and gospel absolutely is the foundation of R&B and gospel.
Everything.
Exactly.
If you're in the club, you heard everything. And it was up to people like Frankie Crockers and others who took that upcoming music.
That's awesome.
And broke it. You Are the Sunshine by the Clark Sisters.
Yes.
That was in the
club. It was in the club.
It was in the club, and then it broke into radio. And
that's right. That's awesome. That's awesome.
Of DJ ministry.
And those of you who don't know Frankie Crocker, I really ask you to please Google.
Pioneer.
Because you would not have any of the DJs today had it not been for Mr. Crocker. Yeah. And I'm proud to say my dad was his mentor. Okay. Yeah. So I sit here very proud, daughter, of someone who's part of that radio legacy. Yeah. And so this is really, really important for me to be able to help people understand the evolution and what has happened in the gospel industry and why it's so important to give it its utmost respect.
Right.
And we call it now kingdom music.
Kingdom music.
And we got to keep kingdom music alive.
Yeah.
So thank God for the gospel DJs.
Yeah. We all build upon somebody else's shoulder.
Exactly.
It's just nice to know whose shoulders you're standing on.
Exactly. It's a beautiful thing. Yeah. So now we're going to fast forward. Gospel DJ, emerging into a photographer, doing weddings and doing other things. What are those other things as a photographer?
Well, again, being a DJ and getting into radio in 95 put me in that genre, that lane of radio announcers, and being around some of the top gospel DJs at that time. So at the same time, I was developing my photography, my love for photography. and being in a room with these artists, Kirk, Fred, Donnie, all these guys, I got an opportunity to take out my camera and start shooting. So that led to people hiring me to shoot their CD release parties.
So repeat that again. Kirk who?
Kirk Franklin.
And Donnie who?
Donnie McClurkin.
And Fred who?
Fred Hammond.
See, I know these names.
Commission.
Yes.
Yeah.
Again, segueing from the gospel DJing to now servicing them, because now they come into your city and they know who you are because what you're doing gospel promotion.
Right.
And see how this all intertwines, folks.
Yes,
it really is a marriage. It truly is. And so you develop relationships with these people who are now living legends.
That's right.
But back in the day, everybody was like, what, teen?
Everybody was up and coming.
Everybody was up and
coming. So even in the early, like I said, 95, 2000, going to that. That's when a lot of gospel magazines were starting to spring up. So there was a need for pictures.
And
gospel music was becoming more popular, and the artists was becoming more popular. So people wanted to get pictures of them. So what they did was the photographers who was already in the field, a lot of media outlets went to them because they was already in the field of capturing the images. So that's how I started doing photography with magazines. For 25 years I worked with the Love Express here, the largest Christian newspaper in New York City, and we covered everything. That took me all over this country and over the world too. But capturing images of gospel artists, CD release parties. I had the pleasure of doing a couple albums as well as CDs, that kind of stuff. So it's been a fun thing.
Awesome. And so now your new passion project,
yeah.
Maybe not so new, but new to this audience.
Yes, definitely.
So we're gonna segue to talk. Maybe some of you will be like, "Oh, it's a little morbid," but it's not. It's real. If you live, my mother always said, you're going and you're leaving here one day. So having said that, now I see these beautiful books. Right. Now, what are these books about?
Well, since I started, when I began shooting photography in 1995, one of the things I felt the Lord say to me is shoot for the book. Shoot for the book. And I didn't understand that at the time, which most of us, when we get a word like that, we don't understand it. We have to grow into it to get it. And in 2010, I created my first book, which was the book on gospel music. And I did that because, again, God is always showing me a need. And in 2000, 2005, if you walked into any bookstore, you could not put your hands on a full-color tabletop gospel music book.
Interesting.
You had books on jazz, rock and roll, blues, but for gospel music, it was mostly black and white and text. And so God had me create the first full-color tabletop book on gospel music.
Awesome.
So my whole dream was that one day someone would go back and tell the story of the gospel hip-hop artists, that the pioneers that was there. Just like, we celebrate 50 years of hip-hop this year.
Yes.
And we know the legacies, the pioneers,
yes,
and that kind of thing, which is a great, fabulous thing. I'm just praying that one day we can do the same thing with gospel DJs.
It's so exciting because we have a museum.
Yes.
That's actually going to be debuting soon, or has it broke ground?
Both.
It's done both.
Yes, it's part of it is already open in the Bronx, and they're still building around that.
That's amazing.
Yes.
What a legacy.
That is a legacy.
It's a beautiful thing to know that you're part of that in your own way. Hopefully they won't leave out the gospel.
Hopefully.
But that's wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. It's a really important point.
Amen. You're welcome.
And then talk to us about how that translates into the type of books that you're doing now.
So that, again, my whole thing is I'm a documentarian, and I am to create books. So
yes.
in 2008, my favorite uncle passed away. And just as a gift from my aunt, I asked her if I can shoot the funeral, and I had the idea of creating a little book, a little memoir for her. And she said, yeah, and I did. So when I gave her the book, she's looking through the book. She's like, I don't remember half these people being there. I don't remember half this stuff taking place.
Wow.
And that made a light bulb go off in my head, saying that how many other grieving families sitting in that front row, we forget half the stuff, don't remember most of the stuff that goes on. I can say
that happened to me when my mother passed.
Right. So that started me in my journey of investigating funeral photography. And I found out that funeral photography was actually the second niche of photography that started.
Wow.
Because in the 1800s, what most people would do when a person passed away, they would have a painter come in.
Yes.
And they would paint a portrait of the whole family, including the person who was deceased. Because people didn't travel easily back in those days.
Wow.
So when anybody came to view the family, see the family, they can say, hey, this is your cousin or somebody that passed away, but we have a picture of them. So in 1800 was when photography started, people instantly started calling photographers to take those pictures.
Interesting.
So from day one, photography has been used to document a person's death, a family's life, and show the loved ones that have passed away. And it kind of died down, but because of the experience I had with my aunt, I wanted to get back and check it out, and it just led me into capturing images to help grieving families heal.
That's beautiful, awesome. And can I tell you, the book is outstanding. I mean, outstanding. So let's talk about this particular book.
Okay.
This is what I consider a real, truly, a fabulous legacy book. It's a military fallen heroes funeral specialist book.
Yeah. And again, that's what my books are called. They're called legacy books. And basically they're like a wedding style book. If you ever seen a wedding book, these books are in that same style. They're professional, they're high quality, and the pictures are just high gloss. And basically what we do, we tell the story of a funeral service. We start from the viewing. We go into the homegoing service, and if they want, we can do the burial and the repast.
Beautiful.
So we tell the complete story just in case somebody couldn't make it, and they looked at the book, they can see everything that transpired that whole day.
Feel like they were actually there.
Was actually
had
there.
Experience.
So what our books, again, we capture the images that most people don't think about, because most people, when you think of funerals, they think of three things: coffins, crying, and death. That's all they think about. But there's a whole lot of compassionate images of love that people come. They travel from all around the country to support you at a funeral. I always say that if a person's getting married and you can't make it, you send a gift. But for a funeral, you would try your best to make it.
Yes,
to support that person.
Right. That's right.
Those images are being lost because there was nobody there capturing those images. I did a funeral one time, and there was like 20 people. The father that passed away was like 86, and there was like 20 people that came from his high school graduation.
Wow.
With his wife, because they all graduated at the same high school.
Wow.
And we was able to capture that picture.
That's awesome.
And that's history that would have been lost.
Wow.
So what we do, we capture the history, and we put it in a way that families at a later time can go back, see what they never saw. I have a saying: we help grieving families remember half of what they lost and everything what they never saw.
Wow, that's awesome.
Because there's a whole lot of things that go on at a funeral, at a homegoing service, that most grieving families never see.
That's
never
beautiful.
see.
Just
so
beautiful.
that's what we do. We help grieving families heal, and through our photography, we capture those special moments from the ambiance of the place, the inside. We capture the speakers. We capture the crowd. This right here, I had the pleasure of going down to Aretha Franklin's funeral. It was a whole week. It was a whole week. A whole week. I
remember.
So there was a whole week of things that went on before the actual funeral went on. And I was down there and I captured most that whole week. That's and so awesome. Those are images that, people you don't get. And I love to do military. I'm looking forward to doing our fallen heroes.
Yes.
Like our policemen, our firemen, our correction officers, anybody like that who give their life for us in their service. I would love to put a book like this in the family's hand, because again, the families do not see everything that goes on around them. But these books right here will help you capture and remember the love and compassion that people came and show your family.
Oh, dynamic. Now, quick question. Can you tell us where a customer who wants to either gift themselves or gift a family member, how can they find you so that they can order or create this legacy book for themselves?
Amen. You can catch us on our website, which is www.yourlegacyphotography. www.yourlegacyphotography.com.
One more time.
www.yourlegacyphotography.com.
Is there a number where they can reach you?
They can catch us they can contact me at 917-520-7704. 917-520-7704. But if you go to the website, all our contact information is there.
Fantastic.
And again, that's www.yourlegacyphotography.com.
Oh, that's amazing. Dr. D, I cannot thank you enough. What an inspiration you have been over these decades.
Amen.
Friendship, at least 30 plus
at least 30
years.
plus years we've known
And you've
each other.
always been consistent, and you've always been loyal, and you've always been trustworthy. And I am so thrilled that this particular vision was put in your spirit to carry out, because I know it's going to help heal so many.
It does.
So many others.
But I thank you for having me on to talk about my passion project and the way that grieving families are healing with the photography that we do.
That's amazing.
So I thank you, and I thank you for the friendship over the years too.
Thank you. You're so welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. I just want to thank you, Dr. D, for joining me today on Beauty into Power, hosted by Dr. Cheryl Vernae.
Hey man, it's my pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Cannot thank you enough. Until next time, I'll see you soon. God bless you.